SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
Day 52 without live sports, yet we have a great half hour of sports ready for you tonight. Here in the next half hour, we'll look back on the history between Michael Jordan and the Utah Jazz, and former Ute Robert Johnson joins us to discuss the Utes in the NFL draft. And speaking of Utes, the great debate: which team was better, the 2004 Utah Utes or the 2009 Sugar Bowl champs? Players from both teams will get a chance to make their case. But let's start with the NBA. The coronavirus pandemic is keeping the Utah Jazz off the court, but as part of the Larry H. Miller Group of companies, the Jazz are trying to do what they can off the court to help those in need. They launched the Driven to Assist campaign on April 30th, and it will continue through Wednesday, May 6th at all LHM dealerships, Megaplex Theaters, Smith's Ballpark, and Vivint Smart Home Arena. It is a week-long statewide food drive to help support the Utah Food Bank. Donations can be made at drive-through locations from 2 to 6 p.m. each day. If you drop off a minimum of 8 cans of food, you will receive one thank you item from each site. There's more details and information on KSLSports.com. That could include tickets to movies or games. All right, we brought this up in the office recently. We could be been covering a Jazz-Lakers Western Conference semifinals right now. That hurts, but instead, we are left to look back on playoff wins of the past. It's a good opportunity to do that. We have 3 more on this day in Utah Jazz history. On May 2nd, 1991, the Jazz, in a closeout game against the Suns in the first round, the Brown Bear, Mike Brown, came off the bench, 12 points, 8 rebounds, and Karl Malone didn't see a shot he didn't like. 31 field goal attempts en route to a 38-point, 13-rebound game. John Stockton, 14 points, 13 assists. Jeff Malone scored 19, and the Jazz won the game and closed out the series in 4, 3-1. On this day in 1993, the Jazz evened their best-of-5 first-round playoff series against Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, and the Seattle Supersonics. Kemp had a spectacular dunk, but so did David Benoit. Ooh. The Jazz were a 6th seed that year, but went on the road in Game 2 and stunned the Sonics. Stockton, 14 points, 12 assists. The Mailman delivered 26 points and 9 rebounds. And how about Ty Corbin, Jay Humphries, and the Brown Bear, Mike Brown, coming off the bench for 31 combined points. And the Jazz won Game 2, 89-85. And in 2008, the Jazz were trying to close out the Rockets in Game 6. Tracy McGrady filled up the stat sheet with 40 points for Houston. But 7 Jazz players scored in double figures, led by Darren Williams, 25, Mehmet Okur, 19 points, 13 rebounds, and Carlos Boozer had a double-double as well. And the Jazz win 113-91 and won the series 4-2. All right, The Last Dance documentary series is a huge hit on ESPN. For those who haven't seen it, the series focuses on Michael Jordan's career with the Chicago Bulls and their final championship season in 1998. And, of course, the Utah Jazz play a big role in that history. So we thought it would be interesting to take a deep dive into that history between Michael Jordan and the Utah Jazz, going all the way back to his rookie season in 1984-85.
3 seconds left. Inbounds pass to Green. He'll have to hurry. 2 seconds. 1 second. It's a three-point basket. He threw in a home run ball.
That was the fastest of them all. Ricky Green beating the quarter clock for 3, but his airness. He had moments too. Jordan finished with 26 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. Not a lot of help from his team, though. The block by Eaton. Then the outlet to the Golden Griff for the jam. Woo-hoo. Griffith and Danley combined for 54 points. Rich Kelly had 13 off the bench. Jazz won 110-92. In Chicago that year, Jordan had 28 and 5 steals, but he and the Jazz were no match for Darrell Griffith and his 40 points in that game.
All right, here's an easy question. Who's the rookie of the year in your mind, Jordan or Akeem?
That's an easy one, huh?
It actually will be one of the hardest decisions in years.
Houston's winning since acquiring Akeem. but Michael has really made an impact on the league, and I think that's what most of the people go by, his performance. So I think he probably would get it.
It's really hard. If I had to narrow it down for excitement, I would pick Michael Jordan.
So you can't make up your mind either?
No, I think I'll go with both of them.
There's no question in my mind that Akeem should be the Rookie of the Year.
I have to give the edge to Michael Jordan.
It's a tough choice, but I say between the two, I think Michael Jordan will get it.
So according to our academy, the Jazz, the winner of the NBA Rookie of the Year should be Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls. He'll take home the Oscar on this night for 1985 Rookie of the Year. Jim Nantz, Eyewitness Sports.
And that is exactly how it went down back in 1985. And if you've been watching The Last Dance, then you saw how frustrated Michael Jordan was with how the Bulls handled his second season. He played in only 18 games because of a broken foot. After he healed, he was held to a strict minutes limit. When it came to the playoffs, he went off against the Celtics. But because of the injury, he did not face the Jazz in the 85-86 season, but they knew he was greatness in the making.
If I were a sculptor and I was going to make the perfect player, it would be Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan is probably poetry in motion, and he's definitely going to be a legend.
Abbey with his hands full, both at 6'6". Jordan drives by him with ease and slams it in. He looks for the shot, turn underneath, put it up on a reverse. What a shot, he scores it. Mark Eaton was right there. On a 3-on-2.
Let's jump ahead to year 3, December 3rd, 1986, the first time Jordan and the Mailman met in the Salt Palace. Mark Eaton had 7 blocks, this one leading to a Malone hammer. He had 24. Jordan had 45 points and 6 steals, and he brought his air show with him, but the Jazz out-rebounded the Bulls 50-38. And Darrell Griffith converting this one with a dunk. The Jazz won the game 99-94. Later that year in Chicago, Mark Eaton had 16 points and 13 rebounds, 9 blocks. Of course, Jordan was doing Jordan things, making circus shots look easy. The Bulls built a 9-point lead heading into the fourth quarter. MJ led the Bulls with 27, but the Jazz rallied. Big T and Eaton running the give and go. Bailey had 15 off the bench, just over a minute to go. The Mailman cuts the lead to 1. Then with just under 20 seconds left, Malone gives the Jazz the lead. Bulls turn, they give it to Jordan on the block, but Mark Eaton strips it away, and the Jazz rally for a 91-89 victory. Jordan off to an 0-4 start against the Jazz so far in his career, but the 87-88 season was a different story. In Chicago, Jordan dropped 45 points and 8 assists on the Jazz and a 113-91 win. In Salt Lake City, Jordan was unstoppable, but the Jazz still had a 6-point lead at the half, thanks to Karl Malone, who had 33 points. Also 11 assists from Stockton in the game. The Bulls rallied in this game. Jordan's spinning jumper give the Bulls a 1-point lead in the final minute. And the Bulls went on to win, but one of the memorable dunks of Jordan's career came against the Jazz when, poor Mel Turpin was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Jordan says, is he big enough after picking on John Stockton? Yeah, Big Mel gets posterized. A classic dunk by Jordan. Early in the 88 season, Jordan threw down on Mike Brown. But then Karl Malone threw down his elbow right on Jordan's nose. Jordan left the game, but still had 33 points. The Jazz were in top form. The block from Big Mark. Malone the save. Eaton to Stockton. We're on the run. Guess who finishes? Karl Malone. The Mailman delivers. 19 and 3 steals. Jazz blow out the Bulls 107-93. Shortly after the new year in Chicago, more of the same. Jordan dunking on Big T. He dunked on everybody back then. 27 from Jordan, then a little Stockton to Malone. Ends with a dustbuster from Karl. Woo! You know what? Thurl's going to get a little revenge, too, with his block on Jordan. It's going to lead to a Stockton outlet to Malone for an easy 2. The Jazz win on the road, 106-92. Malone led everyone with 30, and Stockton added 19 assists.
10 rebounds, and they have them all. Stockton left side. Alley-oop to Malone. Slammed up. Up top, Thurl. Stolen by Jordan. He'll go all the way. Michael Jordan. Same play.
Jordan and Malone trading dunks in the 89-90 season. Mailman with 27-19. Stockton 11-16. Jordan had 43 points and 7 steals. Then got the Bulls within 2 in the final 30 seconds, but the Jazz held on for a 4-point win. The most memorable game between Jordan's Bulls and the Utah Jazz in the 1980s has to be the game in Salt Lake City in the 88-89 season. Actually, it was the 89-90 season, but it was in 1989. Jordan, in what's become a common theme in these highlights, scored 40 against the Jazz. The Jazz were down 7 with 40 seconds left. Stockton gonna get the 3. They badly needed it. He's got it. That lead is now down to 4. Bulls on the inbound. Stockton, the steal. Gonna go ahead to Blue Edwards. He gets it to go. The lead is now 2. Then with the Jazz down 1, take it away, Hot Rod.
They do. Stock's got it. He's got running room. Stockton, drive, hang it up. It's good. It's good. The Jazz win it. The Jazz win it. I can't believe it. The Jazz win it. An unbelievable finish. John Stockton, diamond layup. Can you believe it?
108-107 the final, and perhaps the greatest ending between these two teams, at least if you're a Jazz fan.
Big hole. This may go all the way.
Keeper by Alex Smith going wide, cutting back inside. He goes in.
And those who have made their way from Salt Lake celebrate.
Alex has that ball. Oh, Alex kept the ball. The shovel pass to Quinton Ganther, and he dives in for the touchdown.
At least 3 times each week, the KSL Sports team is bringing you live sports conversations streamed on our Facebook and YouTube pages. This week, 4 former Utah football greats joined Crimson Corner host Trevor Allen for what we called the Great Ute Debate. Eric Weddle and Quinton Ganther from the 2004 Utah team, they went undefeated and won the Fiesta Bowl. We're up against Stevenson Sylvester and Brian Johnson from the 2008 team that finished unbeaten and won the Sugar Bowl. Which of those 2 teams is the greatest in Utah football history? The trash talk picked up when talking about some of the great comebacks by the 2018.
I thought you was going to talk about Oregon State, to come back against Oregon State, how you orchestrated that. That was a moment.
I thought that was how we went to
No, but that's the debate of all these comebacks. We ain't had these issues.
Bro, I was actually going to bring that up. Every team y'all didn't play a team that had less than 5 losses.
I don't remember. We just played who was on the schedule.
And that was one.
All trash talk aside, both Weddle and Ganther were still big fans of the undefeated squad that took down Alabama. Brian Johnson actually was on the roster of both the 2004 and 2008 teams. And even after moving on to the NFL, Eric Weddle kept in close contact with BJ during the 08 season, texting him during and after every game. But it was a text that Weddle got before the Sugar Bowl that made him and Ganther some money from their pro teammates.
I get the week of the Sugar Bowl, and I'm talking to BJ. Obviously, I was talking to him all season. He's like, Eric, we are gonna run these guys into the ground. I'm like, BJ, for real, like, don't be messing with me. He's like, we got a great plan. They can't match up with them. We're gonna go up tempo. And I was like, are you for real, for real? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So I went back to my team, and I bet everybody on the entire team, and I came away with, I think, like $3,500, which was amazing money for me at the time. And I took everyone, because everyone was like, Utah, no, they don't got it. This is Alabama, this is Alabama. I was like, okay. I got inside info, and I didn't say nothing until after the game. I said, I told y'all, you should have listened to me.
Hey,
so
you should have seen the line at my locker.
Got them boys paid.
I mean, our year was it was special.
Former Ute and Tennessee Titan Robert Johnson joins us to give his take on the Great Ute Debate, why Utah defensive backs are getting drafted so much, and what he's doing now to help athletes after their playing days are over. He was an all-Mountain West Conference safety at Utah, a member of the 2009 Sugar Bowl champions, and an NFL draft pick and 3-year NFL veteran with the Tennessee Titans. Robert Johnson is our guest on SportsBeat. Rojo, how you surviving the quarantine?
You see, it's a little rough up here. I'm in my basement, but it's cool. It's been okay.
Before we get into the draft and life in the NFL, I have to ask you about the great debate that we hosted on KSL Sports.com this week. The 2004 Utes versus the 2008 Utes. We heard what your teammates had to say, and I'm sure you're going to say that 08 was the best, so I'm going to give you the floor now. Why was 2008 better than 2004?
Hey, defense win games. Nothing against the defense that year. I mean, they had a very, very explosive offense. But, I mean, our year was it was special. It was a year that I'll say that we all came together and we figured that we have to be top 3 in defense-wise to win games, and it worked out good for us.
12 years after that special season, how cool is it that so many fans are still celebrating what you guys accomplished?
I mean, first off, I mean, the state of Utah is an amazing state, and it's awesome to see that the state still remember us. They still adore us a little bit. I mean, I always talk to people and mention I was on that Sugar Bowl year, and everybody get a little bit excited, you know. I mean, like, the state of Utah is just an amazing state, and for us as football players to give that back to the state, to put the University of Utah on the map again that year was a great step into that Pac-12. So it was awesome.
All right, let's dig into the draft. 7 Utes were selected in this year's NFL draft. I'd love to get a few of your thoughts on this class, and I'll start with a defensive back. How good can Jalen Johnson be at the next level?
Well, I mean, that dude is amazing. Like, I remember talking to him last year before the start of the season, and I was telling him, I'm like, dude, all you gotta do is stay healthy and just ball out. And he got things that a lot of corners, like, they're starting to change these corners, and he got the height. He got the length. His arms is long. He run pretty fast. He got a good knack for the ball. Like, he can catch it, then he scores with the ball. And I was kind of mentioning all that last year too, like during the season, that he's a special player. And for him, he's going to fit in perfect. He's going to fit in so perfect with the Chicago defense. Like, you got to remember, they love tall corners. He make plays, and that's what you need. And then they own grass too, which makes it even better.
Absolutely. All right, 3 Utah defensive backs taken in the first 3 rounds. Why is Utah having so much success developing NFL talent, specifically at that defensive back position, safety and corner?
Well, you know, I'll go all the way back to, Eric Weddle. I mean, Eric Weddle kind of opened up the doors for a lot of the University of Utah players to be looked at. And the system that we run, like Coach Witt, Dad, basically it's his system, it's Fred Whittenham's system, and it's an NFL caliber system. And, you know, then you have people that's very experienced, like Coach Scally, that's running the safeties. Then you have Shaw, that's just business savvy too. You know, he definitely understands the ins and outs of the defense. And then you have Coach Witt, that's basically just letting the defense do what they need to do. And the whole defense played really good this year. And nothing against the offense. The offense played good, but the defense played really good against this Pac-12 talent that was out there. And we dropped a couple of plays, but honestly, to look at our secondary and see 2 safeties being drafted, I mean, I'm very, very proud of Coach Witt, the way that he handled it, but Coach Scally kind of put it all together with the safeties and safety pride. Man, I'm really, really proud of them boys.
You now work as a professional growth mentor, helping former student athletes find employment after sports. What challenges are you seeing them have in making that transition?
Well, I mean, I use me as the prime example is that, I went through that trying to identify myself. You know, when sports is over, it's a tough situation, and I was blessed and lucky enough to make it to the NFL. I mean, I played all 4 years. I got my pension. You know, that's really good. But when sports is over, life continues. You got to be prepared for it. You got to understand that life continues. And I tried to guide them the best way that I could. And like currently right now, I go back to Coach Sataki. And when you think about football and try to put it into football terms, Coach Sataki, he came to LA and seen a kid that he's seen the world in, and that gave me that opportunity, and I trust him. And, he helped me get to where I'm at right now. That's my way of giving back to the whole state, is talking to all the athletes and giving them a heads up that sports in, career kind of starts. If there's a student athlete making that transition and is watching now, how can they reach out to you and get assistance? So I'm definitely on LinkedIn. It's Robert Rojo Johnson. That's me on LinkedIn. And then also they can always send me an email with their resume, and I give them the best advice that I can give them by trying to get them here at Northwestern Mutual. But then on top of that, just get them to see that, hey man, the sky's the limit right now. You got tangibles that nobody has as an athlete. So they could definitely reach out to me, and my email address is r.johnson@northwesternmutual.com, but it's spelled NM. So N as in Northwestern and M as in mutual. So that's the one thing. That's the one way they can hit me up. So that's 2 avenues. Or if they find me, let me know. I'll definitely reach out to them or try to find them my way the best way I could, or they find me.
Well, it's great what you're doing, Rojo, and it's always great to catch up and look back at some of those great memories from those great teams you were on. Thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck in this quarantine. Hopefully you can find a haircut and a shave soon.
I know, right? But my jerseys look good, though.
They do. They always look good.
Hey, thanks a lot, AJ.
You got it. Thank you. The BYU Sailor Cougar, maybe the Salt Lake Gulls, just two of several old sports logos in our state that are in the logo bracket. Which one would you bring back? That's coming up next. The state of Utah has a rich sports history. Some teams, pro and college, have thrived while others died. But either way, it has all made a great contribution, especially when it comes to uniforms, mascots, and logos. It got us thinking, which old sports logo in Utah sports history would you love to bring back? We have a 32-team bracket up right now on KSLSports.com. You can go vote in the first round. Some great and difficult choices. If I had to pick a Final Four, I'd go with these four. The Golden Eagles logo, green and gold. They won 2 championships during this era. I'd also go with the Salt Lake Gulls of the Pacific Coast League. I'm also a big fan of the BYU Sailor Coug. And I'll go with the Utah Stars of the ABA. That franchise had a great run in the 70s, including an ABA champion in 1971. Again, go vote, KSLSports.com. A tortoise race and a giant feat next. This wasn't a live sports competition, but a live event nonetheless. A world record-setting performance. Thor Bjornsson, better known as the Mountain on the HBO TV series Game of Thrones, broke the record for the heaviest ever deadlift, 1,104 pounds, and he barely broke a sweat. And today was supposed to be the 146th running of the Kentucky Derby, but it's been postponed until September 5th. Instead, we get the Kentucky Turtle Derby, and it was a thriller. Galapagos had a big lead early, but what the turtleneck? He wins by a turtleneck. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at 10.